Shalom everyone and Shavua Tov. We are in the welcome to a weekly Zohar study of Parashat Lekh Lekha. Parashat Lekh Lekha is the third parasha of the year, and you can find it in the book of Genesis chapter 12 verse 1. Okay, so this is the big real starting of the year. Why? Because here it is, it's starting with the word Vayomer Adonai el Avram, and God says to Abram, Lekh Lecha. How do you translate Lekh Lecha? Lekh Lecha is basically move on. Lekh means go, Lecha for yourself. But it really means move on. But it says, Lekh Lecha me'artzecha, from your country, mi moladecha, from your birthplace, mi beit avicha, from the home of your father. If you read the previous verses, you realize that Abraham was born in Ur, which is ancient Sumer, which is today in the south of Iraq. Okay? Abraham already left that place years ago, and he went to Haran, which is in Kurdistan in Turkey. Okay? He already left. What is that? Go away from your country and from birthplace. And the Zohar says, basically, this is the most important message of all humanity. We want to define what is basically that Abraham is doing. So if we read the parasha, look at Abraham is getting a message from God. It's the first time that the Zohar says that basically God reveals himself to Abraham. And he says to him, you're in the wrong place. You're in Haran. You have to go to Israel. At that time, it was called Canaan. Go over there. Okay? And he goes. And I'll continue. We'll go back to these verses. And then he says, Vayelech Avram, and Avram went. Verse 4. Like God spoke to him. Abraham is not arguing. Look, he came there a while ago. He ran away from Ur because he was fighting for his ideology, for his belief system, for the right thing. But he thought he has to go to Haran, okay, which is today's Kurdistan in Turkey. But he realized, God says, no, you're in the wrong place. You have to calibrate it. Move on. And it's a big, big message, because what happens? And Abraham is going, like God spoke to him. He didn't argue, but already built a business, already have friends, already opened a synagogue, already has a school. I have many followers. When you have to go, you have to go. And to move on. And Abraham is 75 years old when he leaves Haran. That's what it says in verse 4, chapter 12. And then Abraham is taking what they did. Okay, but still, when he comes to Canaan, he has only his wife and nephew, and that's it. There's no big crowd. But Abraham was not sitting doing nothing in Haran. He probably had a whole community around him. There was a whole crowd coming to listen to him. Vayavo Avram ba'aretz. And then comes a very special word, verse 6. Very important word, vayavo, which means and he passed through. Okay? And when he comes to Israel, or that time it was Canaan, he comes to Shechem, but it goes to Elon Moreh, and he moves on. And then the next verse, verse 8, Vayatak misham hara, and he relocates himself to the mountain, to Beit El. And then he travels farther to the south. Hello, you're 75 years old, find a place to stay over there. What is the message over here? And then there was a famine, and he moves down south to Egypt. He has a whole story over there with Pharaoh that falls in love with his wife, Sarah. What's in it for us? What's the whole story about that? And his journeys are continuing. He continues to journey when he comes up from Egypt. And then, so let's first of all realize what is the message for us? The message is amazing. The word Lekh Lecha is a continuous, it's a present tense, which means get on moving, which is present continuous. And the message is not for Abraham. The message is for each one of us every year. Look, the high holidays are over. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Simchat Torah. Okay, a new year has started. What does it mean? That you can't rest on your laurels. That's what I'm meaning. If you woke up in the morning, you woke up because there's still a road to take. There's still a journey to move on. Abraham is the soul of that message to humanity. What is that message? That if you are alive and you're human, we are not here to be. We're here to transform. We're here to change. We're here to get out of the box. You're not, when you create a box, my life is amazing. Why can't I relax? Because you're not here to relax. We're not here to be perfect. We're not here to find our place. We're here to be on the move. And see it. That's what the message is to Abraham. Lekh Lecha. It is about moving. It is about transforming. Living is transforming. We are not here to be perfect. Whoever says he's perfect, I don't have to change. You know how dangerous it is? Because if something is wrong, that gives you the permission to start looking for the blame. It's the government, it's the weather, it's the neighbors, it's my wife, it's my husband, it's the kids. It's because my diet, it's like, it's always looking for an outside reason for why I'm not comfortable. You know why you're not comfortable? Because you're not doing your job. And your job is to Lekh Lecha, reinvent yourself again and again and again. This is the message. Why do we wake up in the morning to live yesterday all over again? It's a recycled day. It's a use up. It's like, what does it mean? It's like you're having a chewing gum. You chew it, you chew on it the whole day, then stick it somewhere, and then in the morning you take the chewing gum and you start chewing it up all over again. Yesterday belongs to yesterday. Whatever I created yesterday belonged to yesterday. Great, it is amazing what you've done about yesterday, but what about today? Today you have to create something new. And Rabbi Isaac Luria, the great Kabbalist of the 16th century, the founder of the modern Kabbalah movement of the 16th century and on, he said, every day there is a different energy being revealed in the universe. And you woke up this morning to reveal the special energy of today, not of yesterday. So the moment you are resting on your laurels, you're starting to blame people and you are asking or demanding other people to make the change and the transformation, and that's not fair. This is wrong. If we feel uncomfortable about where we are, don't go and find the blame with other people. There's no blame. It's about taking responsibility. Abraham is teaching us because the journey that Abraham is starting on that revelation, Lekh Lecha, is the journey of each one of us. This is the message. That's why, can you imagine? There was this guy 4,000 years ago. Did you think about it? How many people do you know of from 4,000 years ago that are not connected to Abraham? Can you realize 4,000 years later, he's still a celebrity and there's no PR company who's trying to make his PR? Can you imagine? This guy must have been doing something really important. He invented what humanity is about. He's the prototype. That's why, in Hebrew, you don't call him Abraham the patriarch. Such a terrible word, patriarch. Who can relate to a patriarch? It's a word that is so far away. Do you know how you call him in Hebrew? Avram Avinu. Avram, our father. Very simple. Every child can use the word Avinu. Why? Avi is my father. Okay, Avinu, our father. Patriarch is like, who is using this word? Avraham Avinu is our father. What do I mean is our father? Oh yeah, our father's father, 4,000 years ago. Wow. Who can say, one day, 4,000 years ago, my great children will still mention my name? Who can say that? Abraham can say that. Why? Because the way the Kabbalists explain, Abraham was not our biological father. Not for all of us. Some of us, yes. Abraham was our spiritual father. Abraham was the prototype of the human being, the way God created him. What is the prototype? The person who is moving always on. This is what Lekh Lekha is about. Get on the move. And how do we see that? First of all, think about getting out of your country. Remember, we asked the question, what does it mean get out of your country, your birthplace, and your father's place? Wrong. He was already out of that place. And the answer, the Zohar is saying, he says, get out of your chart, astrological chart. What if I'm not into astrology? You know what? You have something else. Everyone, each one of us, has his own astrological chart. What does it mean? That's the way I am. This is my cup of tea. That's what I'm used to. This is what my life is about. Leave me alone. Accept me the way I am. That's exactly what the Torah is against. The way you are is not who you're supposed to be. Why? If you're already there, why did you wake up this morning? To live yesterday all over again? What a waste. You were supposed to go last night. You went to sleep, your soul went above, facing the Creator, and the Creator said, oh, my dear child, you've done it. You already did it. Come stay with me. Yeah, you don't have to go over there with the physicality, with all the troubles and, political troubles and economical troubles and family troubles. Who needs that? Stay with me in heavens over here and enjoy the endless world I want to give you. Why? Why didn't it happen? Why didn't we stay last night up there next to the throne? Because another journey that we have to reveal that we didn't reveal earlier. This is the story of humanity. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to perfect. We're here for the journey. We're here to find the new me, the new out-of-box journey, the new innovation. This is the message of Abraham to the world. And how do you know that? The next verse is, when you get out of it, when you do that, when you experience the journey of getting out of the perception, the concept of who you are, what you're supposed to do, who you're supposed to be, and you reinvent yourself, what is the next verse? Verse 2. I'll make you a great nation. I will bless you. I'll raise your name. I'll make your name great. And you will become a blessing. Just your name. Just the concept of Abraham is a blessing. Why? Verse 3. I will bless whoever you blesses you. I will curse whoever curses you. And all the families of the earth will be blessed by you. What does it mean? Because the message you're bringing to the world, the message of ongoing transformation, is the message of blessing. As the moment we are not here in this world to be whoever we are. We're here to reveal whoever we are really treasuring deep inside us. Each one of us has a treasure that we have to reveal. And each one of us, the Zohar teaches us, has a different treasure. The Zohar in Parashat Vayera says, the treasure that you have to reveal is unique to you and to you alone. If you're not going to reveal that treasure, if you're not going to reveal that treasure, no one in the world will reveal it. And if you're not going to get the idea of Abraham, of ongoing transformation and growth, and how? With loving and kindness, no blame, no accusation, no giving responsibility, putting responsibility and blame on somebody else. This is the great message of Chesed, loving kindness, just doing it this way. So Abraham is on the go, and that's why he's on the go all the time, because that's who we have to imitate. That's why he is how our father. He is, how do you say in Hebrew, prototype? A father, tipus. So in Hebrew it means he's our father, not just biologically. Whoever sees Abraham as his spiritual father, what does it mean? You start to be on the go. What happens when we are on the go? Something really important. When you're on the go, you know that the way you're going to be tomorrow, it's not the way you are today. That your belief system tomorrow is not going to be the belief system of today. You know that your belief system tomorrow is going to be different than today because you're going to reinvent yourself. It's all about changing, moving out of the box and moving forward. You know what does it mean? When people are defining themselves, that's the way I am, that's my cup of tea, I'm not going to change, accept me, love me the way I am. You know what? It's like you got lost and you're just stuck in a place in the forest or in a mountain or in a valley, and you just dig in, and I'm not going to move. Don't move me. Leave me over here. You'll rot. You will rot. But the problem is more than that. Anybody will approach you with a different state of mind. If you're a city dweller, it will be a villager. He will be a threat. If you're a villager and somebody approaches you and you're a city dweller, it doesn't matter. Whoever is different than you are will be a threat. How can peace be in the world when whoever is different than you are is a threat? The only way we are not going to be a threat to each other by being different is when we all realize that we are all on the same long journey. The journey that Abraham revealed to the world started. What is monotheism? Mono means one. It all started with us being one with God, with the Creator. All of us, tall and short, fat and skinny, rich and poor, all of us, the Zohar says, smart and not so smart people, all of us were created as one in the beginning. We were never the same from the beginning, but in the beginning we were one. The whole, Shalem, is the sum of its different parts, correct? And the parts are not necessarily the same. A human being is a whole, but his cells, thank God, are not the same. You have bone cells, you have retina cells, you have nervous cells, brain cells, all kinds. We are not one, we are one, but each cell has a different function, the same as with humanity. A human being is a microcosmos. You look at yourself, that's how the world is. If you're not going to go on this journey that Abraham started, you're not going to reveal who you are. And how would you do that? By always getting out of the story. And that's why the Zohar says about Abraham, it took him a while. He was 75 years old. Abraham, the great Abraham, when God said to him, okay, it's now the time. to leave Haran and go south to Canaan. That's your place. That's the Holy Land. That's where you... Why God waited 15 years? Why 75 years? Abraham, the legend says, started the journey of looking for God at 5 years old. And the answer is, that the Zohar is saying, we are in a journey. And you have to realize the journey means that the way I am today, I'm not going to stay like this tomorrow. And when I realize that, I realize the person that I'm judging right now, he's not going to be the same tomorrow either. And he's in the 10 days from now, he's going to be different the way I am going to be different. We are all about innovation. We are all about transformation. We are all about reinvention. And when we do that, we start to give the inspiration to people around us, because deep inside, that's our normal status. The moment you become an inspiration of innovation and self-transformation to others, then the families of earth will be blessed by you. Not because you give them the fruits of your innovation. That's not enough. But by inspiring them to transform themselves too. Again, what's the journey of Abraham? The big invention of monotheism that most people that think they're monotheists, they have no idea what monotheism is about. Is the idea that we were all one. And in the end of the journey, and there's going to be an end to the journey, we will all go back to become one. This is the invention of the idea that is called hope. This is the invention of the idea that is called peace, or in Hebrew, shalom, completion. One day, we will all be complete. How? By completing each other. The idea that this journey is inevitable, and we all get into this idea, into that religion of Abraham. What it is, the religion of Abraham? I'm not right. I'm never, because I didn't get there yet. But I'm on the road. So when you are surrounded by people that everybody's on the road, some on the faster lane, some on the slower lane, but everybody's moving, everybody's committed for transformation. Then you can look at somebody else that is different than you, but they're not threatening you. You're not annoyed by them. You can tolerate them. Why? Because you're changing, they're changing. We are all into this big journey together, and we complete each other. We share with each other the fruits of the journey. When we get there, that is when we really fulfill the idea of Abraham, our father. And therefore we can understand why is it. Abraham is moving and moving on and on because he's never there. He's never thinking, I'm there. That's why he can accept others. That's why he can tolerate others. That's why he can live with others that are not identical to him, because they're not supposed to be. You're just supposed to inspire them to find their own journey. Next to you, another lane, farther behind, farther ahead, but we're all on the same journey. On verse 6, when it says Vaya'avor, the Zohar mentions that this is a very powerful word, because the word Vaya'avor appears in the Tanakh, in the books of the Bible, few times when there is a big transformation. Why? Because the Zohar says, if you look at the word Vaya'avor, it's comprised of two letter sequences, Ayin Bet, 72, which is numerical value of Chesed, loving kindness, right column, the energy of giving of yourself. And Reish Yud Vav, Rayu, it's a holy name, it's 216. By the way, it's 3 times 72. 216 is Gvura, left column. Whenever we hold on to the right and the left, the love giving unconditionally with also the ability to put the boundaries, to overcome and to put the fire of what about me. When you can put them together, then you create that power that allows you to move up and beyond. Because that's also the meaning of the word vayavo. Move up and beyond. It's also the same root of the word Ivrit, Hebrew. It's a language that will help you to transcend. It's all together. And it's also the 72 names of God, which is one of the biggest forces, secrets in Kabbalah. That there's a lecture about it, of allowing us to transcend and to move on. Whenever we feel it's like everything is blocked, that's a Red Sea. You're standing there on the Red Sea, and logically, there's no way. It's the end of the road. And then, you use 72 names, poof, you transcend, you are doing vayavo. You move up to the next level, you are reinventing yourself, getting out of the box, and you do exactly, you cross Yam Suf. Yam Suf can be read also Yam Suf, the ocean of finite. You cross through it into the infinity. And what a marvelous way when you read the Zohar, understand the stories of the Torah in such a different way. All of those journeys that Abraham is doing, it's a journey of the human being in his life. Day by day, hour by hour. If it looks like this is the end of the journey, no, it's not. It's the end of that chapter. Now it's the time to move, to jump and move on and to reinvent yourself. Why Abraham goes south? Because if you don't know what to do, south, it's all of these words, all of these names in the parasha, they are hints. We're just in an introductory lecture, but they are hints. Why Shechem? Why Elon Moreh? All of them are hints. All of our powers that we have to reveal. But the special thing is over here. And that's what's special. South means also chesed. What does it mean, chesed? Loving kindness. When you don't know where to go, look for the journey of kindness. If you lost your north, if you lost your, you don't know where you are, look for kindness. If you look for loving kindness, you will always find the right track. What an amazing hint. He has to go finally to Egypt, but you know what? Why does he go to Egypt? Famine. Always on the journey. Even if you're on the right track, you have to calibrate. The Zohar is saying, was Abram on the right track? I know he was. How do you find trial and error? How do you find it? Trial and error, again and again and again. Never ever think that you already know what's the right thing. Why? By reinventing yourself, you make mistakes, but that's how you learn. Making mistakes is not the end of the world. Making mistake is a learning process. So Abraham makes a mistake. He goes to Egypt. Is that the end of the world? No. He falls, makes some mistakes. He comes out of Egypt richer than he was in the beginning. How? You even make a mistake, it's an opportunity to reinvent yourself again, to learn another thing. Because you go off the road, it teaches you to get back into the road. Now, another thing, another very important rule, when he realizes that his nephew Lot, by the way, Lot in Aramaic means a curse. His nephew Lot is too aggressive and is not changing. He's set apart from him. And how do we know that Lot symbolizes evil? Because, how do you tell a person? Tell about his friends. Which are the friends he's choosing? Lot is choosing to live in Sodom and Gomorrah. You know that Abraham says to him, look, you choose one to go. If you choose to the left, I'll go to the right. If you to the left, I'll go to the left. That's another thing. You want to go on the right journey? Stay away from people that mean evil. Don't eliminate them, stay away from them. How do you know they mean evil? They're too selfish. They're looking for quarrels. They're looking to fight. They can't sit together. They can't complete each other. Especially in the beginning, don't even choose to be next to these kind of people. It's very important what kind of community you choose to be your frame of reference about what's right. So that's another thing. Then there's a whole story about big war, and those kings fight and take Lot, his nephew, as a captive. The guy that he wanted to be away from, but it's his family. He feels responsible. He goes, he fights with him. It's a big, weird story. It says that he sent 318 soldiers to fight against an army of few nations. Could use something like this. And then Rashi, the great commentator, he brings all this Talmud, whatever, that says, no, it was only Eliezer, only his servant who fought them and beat them up. But 318, the number is something. That number appeared in Genesis when we said that before Adam was created, the Torah says there was of the field, bush, siach. It's the number 318. You know Hebrew words, numbers. 318. It means siach is a bush, but it means also speech. That Adam learned that through speech he can create reality, which means if you want to be human, you have to be responsible for what you say, how you say it. And reality, quantum physics, the law of uncertainty. Reality, we affect reality by the way we think, conceive, perceive, and speak about it. But the number 3618 appears again in Parashat Noach. Shem, Cham, Yefet, the three sons of Noach, initials Shin, Yud, Chet. Again, 318, the same sequence. And here we have the sequence. Why? To teach us. Perception is where an awareness that where the war is happening. Today, I think that most nations already realize that a war with weapons is a silly thing. Why? People die. Buildings are being destroyed. Factories are being destroyed. This is so stupid. They have warfare. It's a psychological warfare. That's the Armageddon war. It's a psychological warfare. We are in the midst of it. What is this warfare about? About the warfare about human consciousness. Are we going to be like Abraham, free in mind, loving, caring, tolerating other people, at the same time reinventing ourselves all the time, and we believe, we have faith in the human nature of free speech and free creativity? This is the warfare about today. And it's again, the war is being in the level of consciousness, speech. That's when Abraham is winning, and then he comes with the tithing. We learn about tithing. You are creative, whatever, but you create value, but you still have to share with people around you. Not all what your wealth is about. 10%. The most 20%. That's what tithing is about. And he goes with his tithing where? To Jerusalem. He meets Melchizedek, the king of Salem, the city of completion. Wow, so many ideas. Where do you find the real frequency of completion? All of these study, the learning of the Torah, the other books of the Bible, where all concentrated came from? Jerusalem. This is where the voice of peace is coming from. Peace, completion. That's where we should connect to. And finally, Abraham, at the age of 99 years old, he realizes he needs to circumcise. 99 years. Remember, Abraham was the first one. He created, everything he did was first. For us, he already created. We have to use the tools. We don't have to reinvent them. What an amazing gift. And here we have in chapter 15, verse 5, this amazing discussion between Abraham and God. That Abraham was saying, you promise God, but I don't see it's happening. And then verse 5 says, and vayotze oto chutz out. And he said, look at the sky, count the stars, so shall be your offsprings. Wow. What is that? So Rashi, again, he lived in the 11th century in France. He was not allowed to talk about the Zohar. That time was not the time. So he hints about it. He says, okay, the simple explanation, he got him out of the tent and told him to look at the stars. For what? Oh, because Abraham was into astrology, and his chart, he never seen he can have a son. And God said, you see, you can go above it. Very nice. But then he says, but there's another explanation. And that's what he said, Hotzio michalalo shel olam. He got him out of the space of this world. What is the gift of, and what is the gift of the Torah? Is the knowing that as a human being, with our imagination and our faith in the goodness of the light of God, we have the tools with the 72 names and all those that Kabbalah is giving. We have the ability to transcend above. So we can look down at the stars and we can become master of our destiny. That's how Abraham finally had Isaac, which is against the law, against the rules, but we human beings, we're here to create, to recreate, rewrite our destiny. And that's calling. So this is a great message for humanity. It's a great message every year to start it with, because every year we're here to reinvent ourselves all over again and be an inspiration to whoever around us, that if you don't like the way you live, just reinvent yourself. Don't blame others. Thank you, and have a great